All right, good Tuesday evening, everybody. I'm sure you've heard by now that there is some winter weather possible in Mississippi this weekend, and it looks like it is becoming increasingly likely. With every model run that we get, they're not backing off on this at all. In fact, they're beginning to come into agreement that there could be a pretty major winter storm happening across the southeast. Now, we're still 3 days plus out from this event, so we're not going to be able to quite nail down the exact locations where we're going to see the types of precipitation. Where is it going to be just rain? Where is it going to be a mix? Where is it going to be just freezing rain and sleet and ice? And where are we going to get the snow? We're going to get all of the above, but exactly where those lines set up, we're not going to be able to tell you that yet. The accumulations, we'll be able to tell you more about that in the coming days. We've got shorter range models that we'll be able to show you in the coming days. I am going to show you one preliminary model that's showing how much ice we could get, but I just want you to know that, again, this is 3 to 4 days out, and what you see may not exactly pan out because there will be many more model runs between now and when this is all going to start on Friday. All right, so let's get into it. Today, actually pretty good day. We had sunshine, mild temperatures. We were in the upper 50s for highs, high pressure controlling the weather. But now that's moving away. Clouds already beginning to move back in. Winds are going to turn in from the south. Here we see live IMAX 12, and the clouds are coming in. So that's going to keep our temperatures up tonight. I think we're going to see a low temperature of about 40 degrees or so, and that's going to be just after midnight. After midnight, I think we could actually warm back up into the mid-40s, which is actually where we are right now at the 8 o'clock hour. So low temperatures, usually these are just before the sun comes up, but tonight these low temperatures are mostly going to be, let's say, about midnight to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Upper 30s east of us, about 40 in Jackson, lower to mid-40s back off to the west, and it will be warmer than this by daybreak tomorrow, and then it continues to warm up because we're going to see a south breeze, even though the clouds are going to take over and rain showers are going to start as early as mid-morning, but I think it's more likely about lunchtime and through the afternoon and evening that we're going to see a pretty steady rain on your Wednesday. The weather maker is this frontal boundary, which is going to be moving in from the northwest. Some heavier rain in the Delta, North Mississippi, more scattered showers a little bit farther to the south. Behind the front, cloud covering the rain is going to linger for a couple of days. Thursday, Friday, kind of a lull in the action, and then it's going to ramp back up again as another storm rolls in from the west, just as that Arctic air is plunging to the south. All right, let's take a look at the next 24 hours. Here you see the clouds increasing tonight, and then this is lunchtime tomorrow. Heavier rain stays to the north of us. We're going to see chances of rain through about midnight. Now, could there be a thunderstorm? There could be, but I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of that. I think this is really just going to be a good rain from lunchtime to midnight, about a 12-hour period, and then the rain's going to taper off. Cloud cover, a few spotty showers around as we go through the day Thursday. Again, lull in the rain Thursday and Friday, although we're not going to be able to completely take the rain out of the forecast, but it really comes back for the weekend. Another storm rolls in, and with the Arctic air coming in, that's going to mean wintry mix. It could start as early as Friday night, but I think the worst day is going to be Saturday, and then the precipitation should be tapering off Sunday, even though it's going to stay cold, and it will actually get progressively colder Sunday and into early next week. And we're talking about temperatures in the teens and low 20s. So here's a look at our low temperatures and see how they just dive. I want you to notice Saturday we're at 32 for a low, but I think all day Saturday we're going to be at or just above freezing here in the Jackson area. Now, this is going to depend on where you are, because if you're north of Jackson, you may stay just a degree below freezing all day. And if you live south of the capital city in the Pine Belt, well, it's going to be cold. You'll see a cold rain all day Saturday, but I think you'll be above freezing. And then Sunday, we're in the 20s, and then Monday and Tuesday, we're down into the teens for lows. All right, last week when we had a little inkling that there might be some wintry weather, we showed you the comparison of a couple of models, and one was the Euro that said pretty much nothing's going to happen, and the other model said that a lot was going to happen initially, and then it came into agreement with the European. So the European has been doing a little bit better with these scenarios. But I'm going to show you both models, and you'll see what both of them say about the upcoming weekend. Okay, we're going to start with the Euro. This is the one that's a little bit more reliable. Friday night, this is saying that we could see some ice beginning to move into the delta. And then that freezing line is going to steadily drop southward. Of course, the rain's going to be coming in at the same time. So about, let's say, Saturday night, that freezing line is going to set up right across central Mississippi. So during the day, we're likely going to be just a little bit above freezing, and for most of the day Saturday, this could just be rain in Jackson and Point South. But again, the farther north you live, it's going to be just a little bit colder, and it's more likely that it's going to be maybe freezing rain all day in places like the Delta or northern counties, North Louisiana, and along the Mississippi River all the way down to Vicksburg. Now, again, the freezing line is going to drop Saturday night. Notice it drops. But at the same time, the moisture, the storm is going to be getting out of here. So I think as the freezing line drops, the precipitation is going to end pretty quickly. So I think there's going to be possibly a brief changeover into some flurries in the Delta and a little bit of ice south of Jackson for just a short time before it all comes to an end. That's the European model. All right, here's a look at the GFS model, and I'm pausing it at the exact same times that I paused the European, so you can get a little bit of a comparison. And initially, it looks almost exactly the same. Friday night, we got that ice rain line right across the Jackson area. More likely to see freezing rain and sleet farther to the north and rain to the south. All right, let's go farther in time, 24 hours. This is Saturday night. The GFS is dropping that freezing line faster, so it's holding on to more winter weather farther south for a longer period of time because it doesn't wrap up the sleet, ice, snow until we get almost to Monday morning. So there is a little bit of a difference there between models, but they both agree that something is going to happen, that we are going to see some winter weather over parts of Mississippi, and I think it's most likely going to be in the Delta. Farther south, there's more question marks. In the Pine Belt, I'm thinking it's mostly going to be rain, with just a brief changeover as we get into Sunday. Of course, as always, in the metro, we're kind of in between, so it could be really bad or not so bad. All right, let's take a look at our European model. Now, this is preliminary. This is likely going to change every model run that we get. It's going to change a little bit, but this is possible ice accumulations and when those ice accumulations could start per the European model, which again, I think that's the more reliable of the two. So this is Friday night, Saturday morning, just after midnight on Saturday, some ice accumulation again in the Delta, and then that begins to drop southward. This is Saturday morning at about 8, 9 o'clock, ice accumulation along and north of Interstate 20, and then it gets really bad. As we go through the day Saturday and into Sunday, significant ice accumulations, again, north of I-20, the western part of Mississippi, all the way down to about Natchez. And notice there's not going to be as much in the Pine Belt because it's mostly going to be just a cold rain there. But briefly, before it comes to an end, Sunday, we could see a little bit of a changeover to some freezing rain and sleet there. So ice accumulations per the European model, not much in the Pine Belt, but significant accumulations farther northwest. Now, this is calling for a quarter to a half inch, and then we get into the Delta and north of I-20, and it's a whole lot more. This would be a horrible scenario if this pans out, because we all know it only takes just a little bit of ice to cause really bad problems. It's going to glaze over elevated surfaces like bridges and overpasses, making travel very tricky. But if we get this much ice, we're talking about even just a half inch or a little bit more, that is really going to weigh down trees and power lines enough that a lot of the tree limbs are going to break, the trees are going to be down, the power lines are going to snap. That would be horrible. So obviously we're hoping this changes as of the next model run, which is going to come out at midnight tonight, and we get a long-range outlook from the European model every 12 hours. So midnight, we're going to get an update. Then noon tomorrow, we'll get another update. And then midnight tomorrow night, we get another update. And every time we get an update, as we get closer to the event, we're going to be a little bit more accurate with this. So I just want to show you this, just to keep in mind, this is kind of like, I'm thinking, a worst-case scenario, but this is the latest output from the European right now. So bottom line is we're about 3 days out, maybe a little bit more than 3 days if it starts Friday night, and our confidence is increasing that we are going to see a winter storm over parts of Mississippi, most likely the Delta. What is that going to result in? It's going to result in tricky travel, slick roads, iced over elevated surfaces like bridges and overpasses, and slam dunk, we know this is going to happen. We are going to see some dangerously cold temperatures because that Arctic air is going to be plunging southward. We're going to stay near freezing all day Saturday. Sunday, for most of the day, we're going to be in the 20s most of the day, barely getting above freezing. And then, yeah, the precipitation is going to come to an end, and we may even get sun back Monday and Tuesday, but it's going to be really cold. We're talking about lows in the teens Monday and Tuesday with high temperatures in the 30s to only near 40 degrees. So whatever is going to be on the ground over the weekend likely is going to stay there for a good part of Monday and Tuesday. Even Wednesday morning next week, we're in the mid-20s for lows. So we're hoping we don't get a lot on the ground and that it will melt quickly if we don't have a lot. But if we do have a lot, it could stick around for a couple of days, which could pose a problem early next week for folks going back to work and school. Again, what is uncertain is the type of precipitation and exactly where that's going to fall and how much. And of course, we just talked about all of that. So the probability for winter weather is increasing. Let's say north of Interstate 20 and north of the Natchez Trace, I'm going to give it about a 70% chance that we're going to see wintry weather, about a 50% chance a little farther south, and just a 20% chance in the Pine Belt where if we get any, it's going to be a brief changeover, mostly rain down there. So for this night, increasing clouds, 40 for a low, but remember that's after midnight. And then we get to tomorrow, and it's going to be a mild day, but there is a 70% chance of rain. The reason it's mild is because our winds are going to be gusting in from the southeast at about 20 miles per hour. Chance of rain goes down Thursday, Friday, just cloudy, scattered showers. Temperature's not bad, 40s for lows, 50s to low 60s for highs. But then Friday night, the Arctic air arrives. Take a look at Saturday, 32 to 35 all day. But that's in Jackson. Farther north, we could be freezing all day. Farther south, we're likely above freezing all day. We've got to be weather aware, obviously, through the entire weekend. Sunday, we're mostly in the 20s all day, but the precipitation is going to be wrapping up Sunday. It's going to be coming to an end. And then early next week, just cold. It'll be sunny again, but we're looking at 18, 19 degrees in the morning. We will get above freezing in the afternoon, but not much above freezing, just 36 Monday and about 40. Tuesday up to 44 Wednesday. So I think by Wednesday, a lot of this will thankfully, hopefully go away. And honestly, hopefully, we don't get a lot to begin with. If we're lucky, the freezing line never gets this far south, and it's just going to be a cold, nasty rain, and we're going to be good. But I do think if you live north of Jackson, especially in the Delta and into northeastern Louisiana, it is a really good possibility that you are going to see a winter storm, and it's going to be the worst of winter weather because it's an ice storm. That is not fun. Usually when we talk about winter weather, some of it's kind of fun, We get snow, maybe make a snowman. No, that's not going to happen this go around, at least not in our area. I think for a majority of us, it is likely going to be freezing rain, which is going to be stressful and not fun to deal with for a couple of days. All right, we are getting ready to do our CW newscast at 9 o'clock. And, of course, we'll have the very latest on our 10 o'clock news tonight in just a little bit more than an hour on WJTV 12 News. Until then, make it a good night. And we will have, of course, more updates with the other members of the storm team. Meteorologist Megan Hanna is going to be here first thing in the morning with your next update. All right, have a good night.